Hey everyone, Joey Snyder real quick, making a video about my life for the people who wanted to see it. If you don't want to see it, click out and wait for my next videos that I'll be making. I was born April 26, 1998 at York Hospital in York, PA. From my birth I had a lot of problems because when I was being delivered, my umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck, and my first baby photo, I have scars all over my face, from where I was trying to get it off. And I think I looked cute besides, like, scars on my face. Anyways, when I was growing up, my dad wasn't around because he was an alcoholic, so I lived with my mom's boyfriend named Eddie. And my first memory of my life really is walking down the staircase and seeing him, like, abuse her because he was a really abusive stepdad to her. Fortunately not to me, really. He was just kind of manipulative because he always tried to get me to call him dad and stuff. I never really said anything to my mom about that, but yeah. Eventually, he got arrested for that, and he's currently still in prison for a lot of stuff that he's never going to get out of prison for that are really bad that I think I shouldn't really say. But anyhow, my mom had a husband before she met after she met my dad, but before she had us. And we eventually moved down with him. And I remember him being this vibrant person, this really amazing guy that you just want to get to know. He was such a cool dude. He took me out in the woods, and he was like, when he was hunting for raccoons and stuff, because he had coon hunting dogs and stuff. We were really country back then. Anyhow, I remember that, but when I went down, like, when I got a little bit older, because when I was in 4th grade, after they separated, we moved back down with him, and when I walked in, I was so used to seeing this vibrant person that when I saw him laying on this bed as sick as a dog, it like killed me. And it was such a terrible experience, as it was like one of the really traumatic experiences I have. So we lived down in Nashville for quite a while, back and forth, and the school down there wanted to boost me up 2 grades, so currently I would be in 11th grade if my school wasn't so poor that they didn't have the budget to, like, pay for me to do that. But anyhow, eventually he passed away, and it was a really bad experience because at the time I couldn't really grasp the concept of death, and I didn't know how final it was. So my mom and my brother would be crying in the bed at the house that we lived in Nashville, and I wouldn't really know what was going on. I just kind of sat there blank-faced. When I got home, my dad would contact me sometimes, but it would be very rare when he did, and whenever he would tell me the same stuff about him being a better father, blah blah blah, stuff that never really even happened. He was not the best guy because he was such an alcoholic. He wasn't around, and he drank so much, and he eventually, as I got older, through elementary school, I started becoming a very antisocial person. I only had a few friends, and they were girls, and I started to feel kind of weird about that, so eventually I became like a social butterfly, and I became such a weird kid. And I was kind of a goody two-shoes, so the first time I got called to the office for pretending to shoot a kid with a banana, I was stunned, and I bawled my eyes out because I was really embarrassed. Anyhow, as soon as I got out of primary school, it was around 2010, and around this time, my dad moved down the street from me, and when he moved down the street from me, I loved it. I didn't really get to see him often because he was always drunk, but when I did, I loved it. But I didn't go down there much because I would be afraid that he would be drunk, and my mom always told me, Joe, don't go down there unless you call him and make sure he's there, which I didn't really get until later in life, and I'll get to that when I get to it. But he was so depressed about the fact that he never got to see us, and he eventually came to my house and lived in my house for a while during Christmas. It was the first family I had, really, like the real family, my mom, my dad, my brother, and me. It was an amazing holiday. Unfortunately, the whole entire holiday I had a really bad throat problem, so I couldn't really eat my Christmas dinner with him. But besides that, I had an amazing holiday. He thought that we were neglecting the fact that he lived right there and put it upon himself, and he was always upset about it and always put it on himself, which kind of was true because he was an alcoholic and we couldn't see him. And around this time, I met a girl named Samantha who I'm currently dating. She meant the world to me, and I never really believed in love at first sight before I met her. And being as young as I was, I knew I'd love her for the rest of my life, and I did. I dated a few people after me and her broke up because we dated for a few times, but she never left my mind, and to this day, we met again, and I've been dating her for 8 months, but I'll get to that eventually. While I was dating her for the first time, it was Father's Day, and my dad called me up, and he said, "Joe, can you come down to my house for Father's Day so I can talk to you?" And I said, "Yeah, sure," but then he said, "My grandma was there." So I said, "No, I'm not coming down," because I didn't like her because of the things she said to me before. And he said, "Okay, can you at least come down on Sunday?" And I said, "Alright, well, I'll do that for you." And he said, right before I hung up, he said, Joe," and I said, "What?" And he said, "Can you do me a favor?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "There's only one thing I want for Father's Day." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Could you promise me that no matter what happens to you in your life, you'll always keep your head up, no matter what problems there are, showing up to people with your head down is a sign of weakness, and looking up all the time shows that you're a proud person, you're proud to be who you are, and I just want to see you do that for once." And I said, "Alright, Dad, I'll do that, I promise you." He said, "I love you, Joe." I said, "I love you too." He said, "Bye." And I said, "Bye." And I never knew that would be the last time I would ever talk to him. Got home Sunday morning, put my stuff away because I was at a camping trip, and I got a phone call right before I left the house, and it was his neighbor, and she was screaming and yelling, and I really couldn't find out what she was saying, and she randomly stopped yelling. She said, "Monty's dead," and Monty's my dad, and I dropped the phone, and my aunt came downstairs, picked up the phone. She said, "What's going on?" She came in crying. I called my mom, and I said, "Mom." She said, "What?" I said, "Can you stop by my dad's house?" And she said, "Why?" And she's like, "'Cause the neighbor called and told me he passed away, and I want to know if it really happened." I sat on the couch till she got home, and she walked in, and I knew just by looking at her he passed away. So we cried together for a little bit. Well, I didn't really cry. I sat there blank face, but she did. And she told me that she wanted me to be the one to tell my brother, but my brother just went out and had an amazing weekend camping, and when he got home, he was the happiest I ever saw him in his entire life. And I had to walk up to him and tell him, "Jake, our dad died," and he lost everything he had, and he flipped out, and that was the saddest I've ever seen him in my entire life. And my dad's funeral was hard, and I still have the note that I wrote to read at his funeral in my dresser beside me, and every night I sleep with this beside my bed, just as obituary from the paper. And I also have a stuffed monkey because he loved gorillas, and he always had this at his house for me to play with when I was younger. His name's King George. I sleep with it every night, as stupid as it sounds, but it means a lot to me, and you learn to cling on to the little things when someone you really care about passes away. When he passed away, I was really confused. I started hanging out with the wrong people. I started becoming a terrible person. I started using substances I shouldn't have used, and I became addicted and on the wrong path with a lot of things. And eventually, my love for the girl that I met kind of helped me out a lot. But then she left, and it got worse, and it got worse, and I was heartbroken, and I was doing things I shouldn't be doing, and out with these kids, and I just really fucked up my life. Excuse the language, but I did, and my life was so fucked up for another year, and I was literally contemplating suicide on a pretty much timely basis, and every time I would be close, I would talk myself out of it, and I was planning on for a long time for committing suicide. Excuse me, but I was planning on for quite a long time to commit suicide, and she started talking to me again, Samantha, and everything became a lot better, and I stopped being such a bad person, and I was perfectly fine afterwards. Me and her have been dating strong for 8 months now. I know you're going to be watching this, so just telling you I love you real quick, babe. You mean everything to me. and as of now, my life is amazing. Of course, I had to cut a lot out, but I just hit the main focal points of my life just for the people who wanted to see this before they went to bed. I just wanted to do a quick shout out to everyone I really care about in my life. Starting off with my girlfriend's family, my brother, my mom, Julian, Miles, Michael, Jen, Autumn. If I didn't say Michael, then Michael, but I feel stupid saying that again. These are my main crew. I love you guys. I love you, Samantha. I love you, Samantha's family. I love my family. I love my brother. I love my mother. I love all my cousins. Anybody watching this right now who has helped me at any point in my life, I love you, and you guys mean a lot to me, and that's just a quick shout out to everyone who's changed my life. Try to keep this as short as possible. I hope you guys like it. So if you like it, like the video, comment suggestions for the next video. I might be doing a question and answers video, so I'd appreciate it if people would send me in questions on my YouTube inbox and my Facebook inbox, and I'll be trying to get that video done either tomorrow or the next day, depending how fast I get these questions in. So thanks to everyone who watched this. You all mean a lot to me in some way.